Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today we're going to be doing a simple job. It's a replacement of a door lock assembly. As you can tell, it's going to be on an interior door, whether it's a bathroom door or a bedroom door or a laundry room or whatever it is. If it's an interior door, this is the kind of lock that you want. It doesn't have a key for the outside. It actually has something like this that you use to open up the door. Just in case you were to lock yourself out of the room, there's a very small hole in the end right over here, and you just put this in through here, and it's like a screwdriver slot inside. You put it in until you feel a touch, and then you rotate it, and it unlocks the lock. So that's what this piece is for. So we are going to change it. We are going to replace it, the gold unit here, with this type of a unit. There's lots of different ones you can get out there. This is just the one that we picked for this particular application. All right, so a couple things you're going to need to do before you do anything is you're going to need a couple of tools here. I will point this out too. This is laying on a rag here because when you buy it, this is a little bit greasy. You don't want to get grease on anything you're working on, so that's why it's laying on top of a rag. This is what you're going to need. You may need a hammer. You may need a chisel. You're definitely going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and you're probably going to need a very small screwdriver such as this. And the reason I say a small screwdriver like this, I'll show you why. And this we may not need. We'll have to see how it goes as we start taking it apart. But I'll explain that to you as we go along. All right, now the first thing we're going to do, if by chance you had to remove this door handle right here, if it was in your way or whatever reason you had to take it off, you'll take a very small screwdriver like this, and in the back of the handle over here, there's a very small little, I'll turn it up so you can see here. There's a very small tab right there. You see that little tab? That little tab you push down. I'm going to turn it this way so you can see. We're going to push that little tab in like this, and then you take this and just rotate it. And this, just work back and forth, and it comes right off. All right, that's if you had to remove this handle. We're not going to remove the handle because we're going to change the entire lock assembly. So we're just going to put this back on. And the way you put it back on is then you take this and you push it in, and you push it in until it snaps in place like that. All right, but that we're going to leave. We're going to replace the entire assembly. Okay, and the way you take the lock off is you'll see there's two screws here. One here and one here, and they're both Phillips head screws. We're going to take out these two screws here. We're going to pull this handle off, and we're going to pull this handle off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to unscrew these two screws, and we're going to take the lock assembly out. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're just going to turn the handle a little bit so we can get in here with our screwdriver like this, and then we'll take out that screw. Now obviously if you were reusing the lock, you would hold on to these screws to be used at a later time, but in this case we are going to be replacing the lock itself. Alright, so we'll take this totally out. These screws are fairly long, as you can tell. And we'll take this screw out, we'll put it off to the side, and then we're going to do the exact same thing on this other screw right here. You probably want to hold the lock both on the inside and the outside because once the screws are out, it may fall. And if you have a tile floor or anything like that, you may wind up chipping it or whatever. So hold on to it so you don't drop them by accident. Take the screw out. And if you have both screws out, we just take this piece here off. And then we're going to take the other piece as well out. And we'll put this on the side for now. Then we're going to be replacing the latch itself. So we'll unscrew this. Okay. And then this you just take and you push it out like this. Now, before you take it out, look to see which way your striker is actually going. You can see the rounded section is facing towards me. So you have to make sure you put your striker back in the same exact way. So we'll take this out now, and we'll put this off to the side. And we're going to take our new latch, put it in here like this. And remember, we're not putting it in this way, because if you have this piece and it closes into the door, it will not close. It'll bang into it and it won't do anything. So make sure you put it back in the same way that you took it out. Now, if sometimes the old latch itself is rounded, and sometimes the replacement is actually square on the corners up here. If by chance this piece that you're putting in, the striker, is square, then you want to come in here with a chisel and you want to chisel it out just a little bit. And the way you do that is you take your chisel, flat part facing up, put it up on here like this. You line it up even with the opening here where that line goes across the top. Let's take this out so I'll show you. You would put this in here just like this. You would hit it in the back here with a hammer to mark it. Then you would take it and turn it, put it this way here, line it up with this groove right here where the door is, and you would do the same thing. You would hit it in the back with the hammer like that, and then you'll have it notched out here, and you come in here with your chisel and you just scrape out the excess wood. That's not the case, so we didn't need to use the hammer and the chisel, so we're just going to put our new latch right back in here like this. Right, we'll put it in like that. We'll grab our 2 screws. Now the screws are almost all the same. The only ones that are different are the ones that screw the latch on itself. The 2 parts, the interior and the exterior, that screw together. That's a longer screw. These are shorter. Screw it in here like this. And then we're just going to snug these down. Okay, so now this is put back on properly. It's nice and flush here, so it's a good fit. Okay, now our lock itself is going to go back onto the door, but I just want to point this out to you. Obviously, this will be the interior, so we're going to make sure we face that inside the bedroom or the closet or whatever. All right, so we're going to take our exterior handle first, and we're going to put it in over here like this. Now, sometimes when you put this in here, the lock itself doesn't quite line up properly. You put your finger on this piece here, you push it in very slightly like that, and then you put this through here. Now these 2 pieces here need to line up with this spot here and this spot here. So we're going to do that. Push it in a little bit, put this in here like this, and we're going to hold this with our hand, and then we're going to go to the inside of the door. Now the interior of the door, we're just going to make sure that this is the screw here and this is the screw here. We're going to put this on here. Now I just want to point this out to you too. When you look inside here, there's only that little piece right inside there can only go into that piece right there. So you may have to just move it around a little bit to get it to line up. And the same thing with the handle itself. There's only one way it should go, is this way. Obviously, you do not have the handle face in this direction. All right, so we're going to hold this like this, take the interior, put it on, and you may have to move it around a little bit until you put it on like that. And now we're going to take our longer screws, which are actually to hold the lock together. You pull it away from the door a little bit, just like this. It's still attached in there. This way you can see where your screw is going into. You see how that screw goes into the lock itself? Or I should say the exterior. And then that one is caught. We're going to take our second one. Same thing. We're going to put it in there so it lines up with the interior, or I should say with the exterior. We're going to catch it by hand. Always make sure you screw it in by hand. Never put a screwdriver on it until you're sure it's absolutely caught by a couple of threads, and the way you can tell is pull it. If it don't come back out and you can still turn it in, then you're okay. And now we're going to tighten these screws up. We're going to snug them down. We're not going to tighten them up yet, so we're going to screw them down. Same thing on this one here. We just rotate that handle down so we can gain access to it. down or up, whatever works for you. I would not use a power drill or a power screwdriver to do this, because if you're using a power drill or power screwdriver, you may over tighten it and either strip out the interior portion or the exterior portion, and you're going to have a problem with it. So use a regular screwdriver to tighten it by hand, because that way you can feel exactly how tight you're making it. Okay? And that is how the lock is. And obviously you would just lock it like any other lock on the door, and it locks. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is this portion here is finished. Now what we need to do is we need to put this striker piece on the opposite door. So let's do that. We're going to unscrew it, take the old one off. That. Sometimes you'll see they're stuck a little bit. Just tap on it and it pop right off. Now we're going to take this, put it on here, and we're going to screw our screws in by hand. Okay, and that's it. So our striker is on, our door lock is then on as well. So as you can see, it's really not that difficult putting it on. The only recommendation I have is make sure you use a regular hand screwdriver instead of a power screwdriver, and you should have no problem with it. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.